Hi, I'm Sean Martin, President and founder of Donek Snowboards. Today I'm going to introduce you to our new monoplate system. I'm going to show you a little bit of what it does, how it works, and give you some of the details on the individual components. What I have here is two stick legs mounted to a snowboard. These sticks are about the same length as my leg, with a boot and binding attached to the bottom, and the stance width is about 19.5 inches or 50 centimeters. We also got a string running across the top here with a little weight hanging off of it, so you can sort of see more dramatically what's going on in the board. Now, when we make a turn, we bend the board. We bend it quite a bit, and we put a lot of force into it. So you can see that as I bend that board, the tops of my sticks here are moving a lot, all right? And that means your feet or your legs are moving out of your, what I would call your comfort zone, this stance that you've spent a lot of time trying to develop and get, because really what it does is it defines your best balance, where you're most comfortable on the board, where you're most likely to be successful when you're riding. So when you go into a turn, this board is going to try and, well, it's going to bend. And your subconscious and your muscles are all going to go, no you don't. I don't want that to happen because I'm more comfortable right here. And so now you can see that the board isn't bending nearly as much, all right? And in particular, it's not bending as much between the feet because you're pushing back. Now, this lack of bend between the feet changes how the board interacts with the snow. It doesn't carve the same turn anymore, or not the turn it was designed to do. And you lose all this great stuff that's going on between your feet in the board because you can't use that section of the board anymore. So your pushing back is altering essentially the dynamics of the board. Now, the other interesting thing that happens here is when we go over rough terrain or hit a bump or an inconsistency in the snow, what really happens is this board bends a lot. You can see there's some really violent stuff going on here. And right now, your muscles are just going crazy. They're going push here, push there, pull, pull, do all sorts of crazy stuff, which is expending a huge amount of energy just to try and maintain your comfort zone and your balance. You can see that I've now changed my system. I've put one of our plates in between the board and the stick legs we have here. And when we start weighting that board or going into a turn, you can see that the board is bending through the entire length without any problem. There's no resistance to it. And our stance is maintaining the exact same position. We're staying in that comfort zone, that perfect balance point that we've established. And even when we start getting over rough terrain and really moving around, absolutely nothing is happening to our stance. We're staying exactly where we need to be, maintaining balance, able to handle this really rough terrain without being thrown all over the place. We've reduced the amount of effort dramatically that it takes to ride because we're no longer pushing on the board. Our muscles aren't going crazy all the time trying to maintain that perfect position, stay on top of the board. They're just exactly where they need to be all the time. And so our fatigue level when we're riding is going to drop dramatically. Instead of having to stop at 2, you can now go to the end of the day. Not because you're just not as tired, but because all that bumped up snow doesn't look so bad anymore. So this really, really makes a huge difference in how you're able to ride, in your effort put into riding, in the work that you're going to have to do on the hill. You heard me refer to this earlier as a monoplate. A monoplate is a single very, very rigid plate that does not bend or twist. It allows you to set your stance and keep it exactly as you set it while you're riding. It does so by providing a pivot at one end and a sliding motion at the other end, so that you are completely isolated from what's going on in the board underneath you. Other plate systems that predate the monoplate provide isolation and dampening from vibrations in your board simply by adding weight to the system or some sort of dampening material, and sometimes even friction between the board and the plate. These older systems do not solidify your stance. So when your board bends, your feet and stance move just as if they were mounted directly to your snowboard. Our plate construction is a traditional snowboard construction. It consists of a wood core wrapped in fiberglass and conventional top sheet materials. This is a cap construction. You can see it has a raised rib down the middle that provides for additional stiffness. It's also capped all the way around the perimeter. Most people are afraid of cap construction in snowboards due to durability issues. The primary problem with a cap construction in a snowboard is that it's typically seeing large impacts right at the edge. So you're hitting rocks. In freestyle applications, you're hitting rails, but primarily it is impacts right at the edge that cause separation and delamination or cracking of the most brittle component in the cap. In this situation, you're not going to be hitting rocks with this plate. You're simply going to be standing on top of it. So the concerns regarding cap construction in this plate really don't apply. The plate has a number of holes and inserts in it. You've got on the top a row of holes for mounting your bindings with a standard 4x4 hole pattern. Along the side you have either access holes for mounting UPM hardware to your board, or mounting hardware to the bottom side of the plate in the case of a 4x4 system. On the bottom side you have another couple of rows of inserts which allow you to mount UPM hardware to the bottom side of the plate. The hardware that we use for mounting the components to both systems is fairly similar. We start with a plastic component on the bottom with a slot through it which receives a shaft, and then a clamping device, in the case of the UPM, these two little clips that clamp that shaft to the piece of plastic and keep it from moving from side to side. Then we have a pivot bushing here. It's got a hole in it and it fits over the shaft just like this and pivots. And then we have our slider mechanism, which has a bushing for the shaft in it as well. So the shaft fits over that hole, or fits through that hole, and then this bushing slides back and forth in this track. Hopefully you found this video informative. With any luck, you've got a much better understanding of how a monoplate system works and what it can do for your riding. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to give us a call or send us an email. We'll do everything we can to answer them. Thanks a lot for watching. Goodbye.